Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we re-diving deep into one of the most pivotal moments in the entire Star Wars saga, the battle that truly shattered Anakin Skywalker and cemented the rise of Darth Vader. We all know the tragic story, the hero who became a monster. But what was the final breaking point? It wasn't just a single event, but a brutal, soul-crushing campaign that pushed him over the edge. This wasn't just another fight. This was the Outer Rim Sieges, a galaxy-spanning conflict that lasted for months on end. To understand the pressure Anakin was under, we need to look at the state of the galaxy. The Clone Wars had been raging for 3 long years. The Republic was stretched thin, its resources dwindling, and its people were exhausted. The Separatists, led by Count Dooku and the unseen Darth Sidious, launched a massive, coordinated assault on the Outer Rim territories. This wasn't about conquering planets one by one. It was a war of attrition designed to bleed the Republic dry. Imagine countless worlds, from the spice mines of Kessel to the shipyards of Qua BT, all under simultaneous attack. For the Jedi, this was an unprecedented crisis. They were generals, not just peacekeepers, leading clone armies across thousands of light years. And at the forefront of this relentless campaign was Anakin Skywalker. He wasn't just a Jedi Knight. He was the hero with no fear, the poster boy for the Republic war effort. Every victory was broadcast on the holonet, every daring maneuver celebrated. But this fame came at a cost. The weight of an entire galaxy's hope was placed squarely on his shoulders. He was expected to win, always, no matter the odds. This pressure was amplified by his personal life. He was secretly married to Padme Amidala, a love he had to hide from everyone, especially the Jedi Council. This secret created a constant, gnawing anxiety. He was living a double life, torn between his duty to the Jedi Order and his love for his wife. This internal conflict was a wound that never healed, and the war was like salt being poured into it every single day. He fought with a desperation that other Jedi didn't understand, because for him, victory wasn't just about the Republic, it was about creating a safe galaxy for Padme. Now, let's talk about the battles themselves. The Outer Rim Sieges were not glorious duels or epic space ballets. They were gritty, ugly, and brutal. Anakin and his 501st Legion, along with his Padawan Ahsoka Tano and Captain Rex, were thrown into the meat grinder. They moved from one hellish warzone to another with barely any rest. One week, they'd be fighting in the toxic jungles of Felucia, the next in the bombed-out ruins of a city on Megiddo. The sheer scale and brutality were designed to wear down the Republic's best. Anakin's fighting style, always aggressive and leaning towards the dark side, became even more pronounced. He took risks that bordered on suicidal, pushing his starfighter and his men to their absolute limits. He was brilliant, winning impossible victories, but each win came at a terrible price. He saw clones he'd fought alongside for years get cut down. He saw civilians caught in the crossfire. He saw the destruction and suffering firsthand, day in and day out. This constant exposure to the horrors of war began to erode his spirit. He started to believe that the only way to end the war was through overwhelming power and absolute control. The Jedi's patient, defensive methods seemed slow and ineffective in the face of such chaos. A key part of Palpatine's plan was to separate Anakin from his support systems. Obi-Wan Kenobi, his former master and closest friend, was often assigned to different fronts. While they communicated, they weren't fighting side by side as they used to. This left Anakin feeling isolated. Obi-Wan was Anakin's moral compass, the one person who could temper his recklessness and pull him back from the brink. Without that steadying presence, Anakin was left alone with his own dark thoughts and Palpatine's poisonous whispers. And those whispers were constant. Chancellor Palpatine was his mentor and confidant, the one powerful figure who seemed to truly understand him. He would praise Anakin's victories, validate his frustrations with the Jedi Council, and subtly plant seeds of doubt and ambition. "You are the greatest of the Jedi, Anakin," he would say. "They are holding you back. They are jealous of your power." Palpatine masterfully played on Anakin's insecurities and his desire for recognition. While Anakin was fighting on the front lines, Palpatine was fighting a different war, a war for Anakin's soul. One of the most significant campaigns during this time was the Battle of Presentland. This was a critical communications hub for the Republic, and its loss would have been catastrophic. The Separatists threw everything they had at it. Anakin and a small Republic fleet were sent to break the blockade. What was supposed to be a surgical strike turned into a prolonged, brutal siege. Anakin was in command, and the lives of thousands of clones and the fate of the sector rested on his decisions. During the battle, Anakin demonstrated his tactical genius, but also his growing ruthlessness. He used unorthodox strategies that the Jedi Council would have condemned. He sacrificed ships and men in high-risk gambles that, while ultimately successful, were morally questionable. He was becoming more like a Sith than a Jedi in his methods, focused solely on victory, no matter the cost. He was getting results, but he was losing pieces of himself in the process. He justified his actions by telling himself it was necessary to end the war quickly and save more lives in the long run. This is a classic dark side justification. The ends justify the means. After months of this nonstop warfare, Anakin was a changed man. He was no longer the optimistic, albeit arrogant, Jedi Knight. He was weary, haunted, and filled with a simmering rage. He saw the Jedi Council as politicians who were too cautious and detached from the reality of the war. He saw the Separatists as an evil that needed to be eradicated, not negotiated with. His black and white view of the galaxy was becoming more and more extreme. Then came the moment that accelerated everything: the Separatist attack on Coruscant. This was the ultimate act of audacity. General Grievous and Count Dooku bypassed Republic defenses and struck at the very heart of the government. Their goal wasn't just to cause chaos. It was to kidnap Chancellor Palpatine. This was the final, brilliant move in Palpatine's long game. For Anakin, this was the ultimate failure. He, the great hero, was fighting on the Outer Rim while the Chancellor, his friend and mentor, was in danger back home. He and Obi-Wan were immediately recalled to Coruscant, their starfighters racing through hyperspace. The entire journey was pure agony for Anakin, filled with fear and self-blame. The fate of the war, the Chancellor, and in his mind, the galaxy, rested on him getting there in time. The Battle of Coruscant is where we see the culmination of all this pressure. Anakin fights with a fury we've never seen before. He's not just fighting to win. He's fighting with desperation, rage, and fear. He single-handedly carves a path through the Separatist fleet, his piloting skills on full display. He and Obi-Wan board Grievous' flagship, the Invisible Hand, to rescue the Chancellor. And this is where we'll pause for today. The confrontation aboard the Invisible Hand, the duel with Dooku, and the choice that Anakin makes is the true beginning of the end. All the months of war, the isolation, the fear for Padme, and Palpatine's manipulation all come to a head in that single moment. The Outer Rim sieges didn't just tire Anakin out. They forged him into a weapon. They stripped away his Jedi teachings and left him raw, angry, and vulnerable. Palpatine had created the perfect storm, and Anakin Skywalker was about to be swept away by it. Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi, once brothers in arms, were locked in a battle that would decide the fate of the galaxy. This wasn't just a duel. It was the tragic end of a friendship, the shattering of a prophecy, and the birth of a monster. Let's dive right back into the fiery heart of Mustafar. The fight is a whirlwind of blue lightsabers, a chaotic dance on the precipice of a volcano. Every strike, every parry, is loaded with years of shared history. Obi-Wan isn't just fighting a Sith Lord. He's fighting the boy he trained, the man he loved like a brother. You can see the anguish on his face. He's pleading with Anakin, trying to reach the good man he knows is still buried somewhere deep inside. But Anakin is deaf to his pleas, blinded by rage and the dark side's intoxicating power. He screams about his new empire, his lust for power, convinced that Obi-Wan and the Jedi have betrayed him. "I have brought peace, freedom, justice, and security to my new empire," he roars. It's a chilling declaration. He genuinely believes that his path of destruction is a righteous one. This is what the dark side does. It twists your perception, making you the hero of your own tragic story. Palpatine's manipulation has been so absolute that Anakin can no longer distinguish right from wrong. He sees Obi-Wan's attempts to save him as an attack. The duel rages on, moving from the control room to the exterior platforms of the mining facility. The environment itself becomes a weapon. Sparks fly, metal groans, and melts around them. They're balanced on a narrow collection pipe, suspended over a river of lava. The heat is intense, the danger is real, and the stakes couldn't be higher. This is where we see the peak of their abilities. Both are masters of Form V, Jimso, but their styles reflect their inner states. Anakin's is all aggression, powerful, overwhelming strikes meant to batter his opponent into submission. Obi-Wan, a master of the defensive Form 3, Sarisu, is a stone wall. He weathers the storm, absorbing Anakin's fury, waiting for his moment. Obi-Wan knows he can't overpower Anakin. Anakin is younger, stronger, and more deeply connected to the Force, even if it's the dark side. So Obi-Wan has to outthink him. He has to use Anakin's own arrogance and rage against him. The fight isn't just physical, it's a chess match, and Obi-Wan is playing for his life and the soul of his friend. He leaps from the collection arm as it collapses into the lava, landing on a small skiff. Anakin, never one to be outdone, follows, using a nearby droid to float across the fiery river. The chase is on. They leap from floating platforms, their duel continuing amidst the chaos. It's a desperate, frantic sequence. Every move is a risk. A single misstep means a fiery end. It's here that Obi-Wan makes his move. He jumps to the relative safety of a black sand riverbank, looking up at Anakin. He has the high ground. It's a simple tactical advantage, but in this moment, it's everything. "It's over, Anakin. I have the high ground," he warns. It's not a boast. It's a final, desperate plea. He's giving Anakin a way out. He's saying, "Don't do this. Don't make me do this." He's reminding Anakin of their training, of a similar situation where Obi-Wan defeated Darth Maul by using the high ground to his advantage. He's begging him to see reason, to stop this madness. But Anakin's hubris is absolute. "You underestimate my power," he screams. He's been told he's the chosen one his whole life. He's been praised by Palpatine as the most powerful Force user ever. In his mind, the rules of combat, of physics, don't apply to him. He believes he can overcome any obstacle through sheer force of will. "Don't try it," Obi-Wan says, his voice filled with dread. He knows what's about to happen. He knows what he's going to have to do. This is the point of no return. Anakin, consumed by his own perceived invincibility, leaps. It's a foolish, reckless move, born of pure ego. And in that one, terrible moment, Obi-Wan's lightsaber flashes. It's a clean, precise, and devastating strike. He doesn't go for a killing blow. He does what he has to do to end the fight. He severs Anakin's legs and his remaining organic arm. Anakin tumbles down the volcanic slope, his body broken, stopping just short of the lava river. The sight is horrific. Anakin, the hero of the Clone Wars, the chosen one, lies mutilated and helpless. Obi-Wan looks down, his face a mask of utter despair. He didn't want this. He never wanted this. "You were the chosen one," he cries out, his voice breaking. "It was said that you would destroy the Sith, not join them. Bring balance to the Force, not leave it in darkness." This is the heart of the tragedy. Obi-Wan isn't just mourning his friend. He's mourning the future. He's mourning the hope that Anakin represented. He's mourning the failure of the Jedi Order, and his own failure as a master and a friend. Anakin, lying at the edge of the lava, is consumed by pure, unadulterated hatred. "I hate you," he shrieks. It's the last vestige of the boy Obi-Wan knew, twisted into something unrecognizable. And then, the horror escalates. His clothes catch fire. The heat from the lava begins to cook him alive. His body is engulfed in flames. Obi-Wan can only watch in horror. He can't bring himself to end Anakin's suffering. Perhaps he can't kill the man who was once his brother. Perhaps he thinks death is too good for him. Or maybe, he's simply paralyzed by grief and shock. He picks up Anakin's lightsaber, the weapon of a Jedi Knight, now a relic of a fallen hero. And then, he turns and walks away, leaving Anakin to his fate. It's one of the most haunting moments in all of Star Wars. But Anakin Skywalker doesn't die on Mustafar. He is found by his new master, Emperor Palpatine, who arrives just in time. What's left of Anakin's body is salvaged from the black sand. He's taken back to a medical facility on Coruscant, where the true transformation begins. The medical droids work on him, replacing his burnt flesh and shattered limbs with cybernetics. We see the process in grim detail. The mechanical legs, the new arms, and finally, the iconic breathing apparatus. This isn't a healing process, it's a construction. They are building a monster, encasing what little is left of the man in a machine prison. And then comes the final, iconic piece. The helmet. As it's lowered onto his head, sealing him in, we hear it for the first time. that famous, terrifying mechanical breath. The last traces of Anakin Skywalker are gone, suffocated inside the suit. Palpatine stands over him. "Lord Vader," he says. "Can you hear me?" Vader's head turns. "Yes, Master," he replies, his voice now a deep, electronic bass. He asks about Padme. Is she safe? Is she all right? This is the one last flicker of Anakin, the one thing he did all this for. And this is Palpatine's final, most cruel manipulation. He lies. "It seems in your anger, you killed her." The news shatters what's left of Vader's spirit. The one thing he fought to protect, he himself has destroyed. A guttural "no" escapes him. The Force erupts from him in a wave of grief and rage, destroying the medical chamber around him. He takes his first steps, not as Anakin Skywalker, the fallen hero, but as Darth Vader, the Dark Lord of the Sith, a being fueled by pain, loss, and self-hatred. The battle on Mustafar didn't just create a new villain. It forged him in fire and loss. It took the most promising Jedi of his generation and turned him into a symbol of terror. The physical wounds were horrific, but the emotional ones were what truly made him Vader. He was trapped in a life support suit, a constant reminder of his failure, his defeat by Obi-Wan, and the loss of Padme. His hate for Obi-Wan, his misplaced blame on the Jedi, and his eternal servitude to Palpatine were all born from that fiery duel. It was the perfect, tragic, and terrifying birth of one of cinema's greatest villains. Thanks so much for watching part 2 of this deep dive. What part of this duel hits you the hardest? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this, please hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next video. See you next time.